The history of Vietnam can be traced back to around 20,000 years ago, as the first modern humans arrived and settled on this land, known as the Ho Binians. Archaeological findings from 1965, which are still under research, show the remains of two hominins, dating far back roughly 500,000 years ago. Prehistoric Vietnam was home to some of the world's earliest civilizations and societies, making them one of the world's first people who had practiced agriculture. The Red River Valley formed a natural geographic and economic unit, bounded to the north and west by mountains and jungles, to the east by the sea and to the south by the Red River Delta. The need to have a single authority to prevent floods of the Red River, to cooperate in constructing hydraulic systems, trade exchange, and to repel invaders, led to the creation of the first legendary Vietnamese states approximately 2879 BC. While in the later times, ongoing research from archaeologists have suggested that the Vietnamese Dong Xuan culture were traceable back to northern Vietnam, Guangxi, and Laos around 700 BC.
Vietnam's long coastal and narrowed lands, rugged mountainous terrains, with two major deltas, were soon home to several different ancient cultures and civilizations. In the north, the Donsonian culture and its indigenous chiefdoms of Van Lang and Ô Lark flourished by 500 BC. In central Vietnam, the Sa Huyn culture of Austronesian Chamic peoples also thrived. Both were swept away by the Han dynasty expansion from the north. The Han conquest of Nam Viet brought parts of Vietnam under Chinese rule in 111 BC. In 40 AD, the Zheng sisters led the first uprising of indigenous tribes and peoples against Chinese domination. The rebellion was however defeated, but as the Han dynasty began to weaken by the late 2nd century and China started to descend into a state of turmoil, the indigenous peoples of Vietnam rose again and some became free.
In 192 AD, the Cham of central Vietnam revolted against the Chinese and subsequently formed the independent Kingdom of Compa, while the Red River Delta saw a loosening of Chinese control. At that time, with the introduction of Buddhism and Hinduism by the 2nd century AD, Vietnam was the first place in Southeast Asia which shared influences of both Chinese and Indian cultures, and the rise of the first Indianized kingdoms Compa and Funan.
During these 1,000 years there were many uprisings against Chinese domination, and at certain periods Vietnam was independently governed under the Chung sisters, early Lê, Cuc and Yang Ding Nay, although their triumphs and reigns were temporary. When Ngo Nguyen, king of Vietnam, 938 to 944, restored sovereign power in the country with the victory at the Battle of Bac Dang River, the next millennium was advanced by the accomplishments of successive local dynasties: Ngo, Ding, early Lu, Li, Zhan, Ho, later Zhan, later Lu, Mark, Qing, Nguyen, Tay Shan and again Nguyen. At various points during the imperial dynasties, Vietnam was ravaged and divided by civil wars and witnessed interventions by the Song, Yuan, Cham, Ming, Siamese, Qing, French, and Imperial Japan.
The Ming Empire conquered the Red River Valley for a while before native Vietnamese regained control, and the French Empire reduced Vietnam to a French dependency for nearly a century, followed by an occupation by the Japanese Empire. During the French period, widespread malnutrition and brutality from the 1880s until Japan invaded in 1940 created deep resentment that fueled resistance to post-World War II military political efforts by France and the US. Political upheaval and communist insurrection put an end to the monarchy after World War II, and the country was proclaimed a republic.